when you're in a relationship with somebody that's got habits, hobbies, things that might be something that'll pull the person away from the relationship, you have to ask yourself very seriously if you have too many needs or structures in your relationship culture that's going to cause tension between that person and you, because it's unfair for you to ask or get somebody involved in a relationship with you that is going to be unable to accommodate you by their habits and lifestyles, their lifestyle traits. And we can blame people for being unable to have a proper relationship with us, knowing all too well that there was a strong possibility that they were never going to be able to do it, given the different values and, again, habits and hobbies and things that all of us do that conflict. And too often we become sour because of these differences, and the relationship terminates. Now, there's other instances where there's things that develop in the relationship that work against it by way of things that people do that are going to contradict the health of the relationship. And the health of the relationship is relative to the harmony, healthy harmony, that we can create within it. Now, some people love toxicity, and toxicity is never going to bring anything good to a relationship. It's going to bring probably moments of exhilaration and euphoria because some people get a buzz out of toxic stuff, but there's a lot of people that they're addicted to toxic behaviors like getting high on drugs and then having reckless sex and damaging sex. Sex can feel good, but it can also damage the mind, because intimacy is always consequential, be it on the positive side or the negative side. The positive side being you have, in the toxic realm, these moments of euphoria within it, but once it's completed, you have the destructive aspects of it where it attacks the mind, because sex is consequential and we're imprinting that person into our mind, so we can think we can get away with it. That's why a lot of these people take more drugs to try and kill the pain that's in their mind from the activities that they give themselves over to. And so that's why a lot of people lose their way and they lose their minds, because they think they're fixing their minds through these self-decided antidotes and sedations, the drugs of choice and the drugs they can get out of their doctors, these types of things. But in the long run, it debilitates them, it damages them, both psychologically and physically. So there's things that we do that we think are exhilarating, and they are. The experience of it is exhilarating and sedating and stress relieving, but the way that we go about it is all wrong. It's just all wrong, and that's in the toxic side of it. A lot of people become desperate, they meet a partner, they meet somebody that they like. It's evident that it's never going to work, but they continue down that path anyway, and end up with all the consequences that work against them. So euphoria, and I guess that's what this talk's sort of circling around, and its deceptions can be very, very consequential. Very, very consequential. And so the positive things that we're sensing and feeling, the momentary hours of pleasure, and I guess that's what a lot of people are looking for, do not compensate for the long-term damages that these engagements bring. For some people, those moments of euphoria justify failures in relationships in the past. It expresses to them that the last person wasn't everything, didn't have everything, and the failure of that relationship is justified by the measure of euphoria that they're getting from the next one. Excuse me. So when that fails, they find themselves back in this depression, covert depression, and they become what they call victims of the carousel. They're just on a carousel ride, one person to the next, until they end up being unable to take the humiliation and shame and guilt of it all, because it all comes at a cost. And so they try and find somebody that's somewhere that can be distant enough but involved enough to meet their innate needs for company, but they're never unable to sustain or maintain or contribute to in a long-term way to a relationship that's aimed at happiness, peace, the protection of mental health by way of normal navigations of the mind and recalibrations of the mind. They're unable to do that because they rely on medications. And let me just say, I'm not against, it doesn't matter if I'm against all this or not, or what my opinion is, but what I'm trying to say is people use these medications and drugs as antidotes that are never going to fix the real inner problem, the root of the problem. So these are just ways of separating themselves from the pain, and they take these forms of relief in the moment, but in the long run it doesn't. This is what I'm trying to say. They have consequences. So if you meet somebody and it's all euphoric at the start, You feel special, they're making you feel special, and then all of a sudden it starts to disintegrate. Don't let your faithfulness and loyalty and devotion blind you from the fact that you're not necessarily with a bad person. For all intensive purposes, this person's good in the life that they've chosen, but their domestic culture is different to yours, conflicts with yours. It'll never be the same as yours, and that's why the relationship will never ever work, no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard they try, because we always fall back to our default, and our default is built upon and surrounded by the things that are most important and valuable to us.